Hi, I'm TVZ and I'm the developer of SafeCreeper, which is a plugin for Minecraft Bukkit servers, and I'm going to show you this tutorial about it. SafeCreeper isn't a plugin to only control creepers, but also to control Enderman, TNT, fireballs and almost everything, which is pretty useful on most servers. I'm really sure you really want to have SafeCreeper on your server when you see what SafeCreeper could do for you. Now I am on the SafeCreeper page on the Bukkit forums, but you could also go to tvz.com or Bukkit dev. Now just scroll down to the downloads, and I suggest you use the last link to download the file. On this page you can find all the downloadable versions of SafeCreeper. Since 1.0.1 is the last version I released today, we're going to use this version. If there's a newer version available, you could also download that one, since it should work the same. Now when you're done downloading the zip file, just open it. Now navigate into your Minecraft plugins folder and copy the file and folder in here. Open the SafeCreeper folder and open a config file in here. With this note, use permissions, you could set if the permission system is enabled or not. So as you can see, it's disabled by default. So if you want to use the bypass permissions and permissions like that, you have to enable this feature, otherwise it won't work. Now go into the global file. As you can see, the file is a little bit bigger than most config files, and it's probably a bit confusing for new users, so I'm going to explain the file. Everything is separated in control, so features for creepers are in the creep control right here, and TNT features are in the TNT control. Now inside the creep control you have the enabled node, which is an ever control. With this you can enable or disable the creeper control. So if you set this to enable, it will use the settings you made right here, and when you set this to disable, it will use its default Minecraft settings. With destroy world you could set if creeper explosions will destroy the world or not. With enable explosion sound you could set if creepers explosions does make sound, and with smoke you could set if creeper explosions does make any smoke. With custom explosion strength you could set the strength of the explosion, so when you set true and you change the number 3 to 10 for example, the creeper explosions will be a bit bigger than default. With spawning you could set when creepers could spawn or not, so for example when we set can spawn from spawner egg to false, creepers aren't able to spawn from a spawner egg anymore. With can target player and can target mob you could set if creepers could attack players or mobs, so they will follow you and explode when they are nearby, and if you disable it they look like friendly creepers. With damage players and damage mobs you could set if creeper explosions will damage players or mobs. With powered by lightning you could set if creepers will be charged or powered when they're hit by lightning. And then the last thing, with enable between levels you could do a pretty good thing. For example, when I enable this and change 0 to 64, this means that this control is only enabled when the creeper is between those two layers. So if the creeper is on layer 62, the control is disabled, but if the creeper is between those two layers, the control is enabled, and use the settings which is set here. You could also add another layer like so, or like this. So now when it's on layer 1, on layer 10 to 15, or on layer 64 to 256, it's enabled. When it's not, it's disabled. Just set damage players to false and damage mobs to false too. There's also a TNT control. With can place TNT you could set if players could place a TNT block, and can break, of course you could set if players are able to break a TNT block. When those two things are set to false, players with the bypass permission node are still able to place and break those blocks. So just set enable to true, and damage players to false, and destroy world to false. Then you have the fire control. With enable block fire you could set if fire will break blocks, and with fire spread you could set if fire will spread out. So if we set enable to true, set enable block fire to false and fire spread to false too. Fire isn't able to break any blocks and to spread out anymore. Then there's a slime control. With can split you could set if slimes will split into more smaller slimes if they are died, and with split into custom amount you could set in how many slimes a slime will split when it's killed. So when you set this to true and change 2 to 10 and 4 to 15, and a slime dies, it will split into 10 to 15 smaller slimes. Don't forget to enable this. With water control, for example, you could set water spread to false. That means that if you set it to false, water won't spread out anymore, so it will stay as one block. So when we set it to false and set enable to true, water won't spread out anymore. This is also available for lava, which is really useful for anti-griefing, so players aren't able to put lava anywhere to destroy things. Then the last thing I'm going to show you is auto explosions. This is a really useful feature for safety. For example, you have a few explosions like creeper explosions, TNT explosions, and probably other plugins you have will also generate explosions, or probably a new future mob added will have explosions. All those explosions are unrecognized explosions, so there isn't any control of it. With other explosions you could control them though. So if a plugin generates an explosion, this other explosions control will be called, since it isn't a recognized explosion. So you could still disable those unknown explosions. So I just suggest to set enable to true and destroy world to false, so any unknown explosion won't destroy the world. Of course there are a lot more of controls you could set, but I don't have that much of time to explain them all. It's also a bit annoying for you. Now just save the file and close it, and here you have the worlds folder. This is used for multi-world support. So inside here I have 2 example files. When my main world is called world and rename this to world, this file is used for the world called world. So if you have a world called Island, you have to call this file Island. Inside the world.yml file, for example, you could set that destroy world from the creeper control is set to true. So creepers will only destroy the world inside the world called world. You only have to put the things you change in here, because the things which aren't set are used from the global file. Now I'm going to remove this because we aren't going to use this. This was just an example. Now start up your Minecraft server. Another example is that you could can disable or enable that sheep will regrow wool, or that zombies will break down doors. Now when the server started up, you could see that save creeper to start before the world generation. Normal plugins to start after the world generation. That means that save creeper is it starts before world generation just for safety. Now start Minecraft and log into your server. So at first I'm going to show you the creeper features. So for example, when I set my game mode to, oh wait a second, when I set my game mode to survival and a creeper attacks me and explodes, it won't destroy the world and it won't damage me. Just another example. Now when I set when I go into the plugins folder again and go to the global config file and we set damage players to true, and we reload the config file of save creeper, which you can do with the following command: /save creeper reload, and spawn a creeper again, you can see that the creeper will damage me. As we set it so that if the creeper is below layer, when it's not between the layer 64 and 156, it will still destroy the world since the control is disabled. So now we are on the layer 65, as you can see on the y-axis. So when we go here to 62, the creeper should destroy the world, as you can see, since the control is disabled on this layer. Now I'm going to show you the TNT features. So when we place the TNT block and ignite it, it shouldn't destroy the world, and it still damages mobs and it doesn't damage me. When a slime is killed, we set it so that the slime will split into 10 to 50 slimes. So lol, it have to be a bigger slime, of course. So when we kill the slime, it should spawn. There should spawn something like 12 other slimes, as you could see. With the water control, we set that water wouldn't spread out. So as you can see, water will stay as one block. And if you set this feature by lava, players aren't able to grease things with lava. Or you could even set players aren't able to place lava or water. Then the last thing I'm going to show you is that Save Creeper does have some comments. You could check them using /save creeper help. So these are all the comments for Save Creeper. So with SC reload, you could reload Save Creeper. With Save Creeper reload perms, you could reload the permission system, and with Save Creeper version, you could check the current plugin version. So thanks for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you understood the things I explained. If you have any questions, you could post it on the forums. Bye.